Have you ever wondered about the early life of Hannibal Barca, one of history's most renowned military leaders? A story that begins in the ancient city of Carthage, which can be found in present-day Tunisia, in the year 247 before the Common Era. This is where a young boy named Hannibal Barca was born into a prestigious military family, his life steeped in the strategies of war and the intricate dance of politics from the cradle. Hannibal's father, Hamilcar Barca, was a high-ranking general in the Carthaginian military. Under his father's watchful eye, Hannibal was introduced to the art of warfare at a tender age. The clashing of swords, the strategic placement of troops, the thrill of victory, and the sting of defeat. These were the lullabies of his youth. His father's influence went beyond military tactics. Hamilcar instilled in his son a deep-seated enmity for Rome, a sentiment that would shape Hannibal's future and carve his name into the annals of history. It is said that Hamilcar made Hannibal swear an oath at the age of 9 never to be a friend to Rome. This oath would become the guiding principle for Hannibal's military career. As a young man, Hannibal's knack for military strategy was undeniable. His keen understanding of the battlefield, coupled with his unyielding resolve, made him a formidable adversary. The seeds of greatness were sown early in Hannibal, and they would grow, nurtured by his father's influence and his own audacious spirit. Hannibal's early life was marked by the shadows of war and the looming spectre of Rome. These influences would shape him, harden him, and prepare him for the trials that lay ahead. The boy who was born in Carthage, the son of a general, would become a legend, his name synonymous with military brilliance and audacious strategy. Thus began the journey of a young boy who would grow up to become one of the greatest military strategists in history. How did Hannibal manage to cross the formidable Alps with an army and war elephants? The Second Punic War, a fierce conflict between the mighty Roman Republic and the maritime city-state of Carthage, saw Hannibal Barca, a Carthaginian general, take the stage. Hannibal, known for his bold strategies, made a decision that would etch his name in the annals of military history. He chose to invade Italy through the treacherous terrain of the Alps. This audacious move was as unexpected as it was daring. The Alps, a rugged and dangerous mountain range, posed significant challenges. The steep, icy slopes, unpredictable weather, and hostile mountain tribes all stood as formidable obstacles to Hannibal's army, but the Carthaginian general was undeterred. Armed with an unyielding will and exceptional military acumen, Hannibal led his army, which included war elephants, on a perilous journey through the mountains. It was a feat of endurance, strategy, and sheer willpower. He cleverly used the terrain to his advantage, choosing paths that offered the least resistance, and employed innovative tactics to overcome the hostile mountain tribes who sought to hinder his progress. The crossing was far from easy. The harsh conditions took a toll on his troops, and many perished along the way. The elephants, too, struggled with the harsh terrain, yet Hannibal pressed on, driven by his resolve to bring the fight to Rome. After 9 grueling days, Hannibal and his remaining army emerged from the Alps, much to the astonishment of the Romans. His daring crossing had not only remained undetected, but also allowed him to launch a surprise attack on Italian soil. Hannibal's audacious crossing of the Alps was a testament to his military genius and indomitable spirit. It marked the beginning of his legendary career on Italian soil, setting the stage for battles that would echo through history. The Alps crossing was not just a military maneuver, it was a display of Hannibal's unyielding determination and strategic brilliance, traits that continue to inspire military minds to this day. Hannibal's daring crossing of the Alps marked the beginning of his legendary career on Italian soil. Once in Italy, Hannibal faced the mighty Romans. How did he fare? Well, let's delve into the chronicles of history and find out. Hannibal, armed with an audacious spirit and a formidable army, was ready to challenge the mighty Roman Republic. His first major victory came in winter of 218 BC at the Battle of Trebia. Hannibal's innovative tactics, which involved tricking the Romans into crossing the freezing Trebia River before launching a surprise attack, resulted in a crushing defeat for the Romans. Then, in the summer of 217 BC, Hannibal displayed his mastery of terrain and maneuvering at the Battle of Lake Trasimene. He cleverly lured the Romans into a trap by hiding his troops in the hills surrounding the lake. The Romans, unknowingly marching into a deadly ambush, faced a catastrophic defeat. But Hannibal's most spectacular victory was yet to come. The Battle of Cannae in 216 BC is hailed as one of the most brilliant military victories in history. Hannibal, vastly outnumbered, used a unique tactic known as the double envelopment. He deliberately weakened the center of his line, enticing the Romans to surge forward. As the Romans advanced, Hannibal's troops enveloped them from the sides and rear, leading to a disastrous defeat for the Romans. It was a day of glory for Hannibal and a day of grief for Rome, as they lost nearly 50,000 men. These victories were not just mere battles won. They were a testament to Hannibal's strategic genius, his innovative use of terrain, and his unparalleled ability to outmaneuver his enemies. He was a master tactician, a commander who could turn the tides of war with his audacious strategies. Despite these victories, Hannibal faced challenges that prevented him from capturing Rome itself. The mighty walls of Rome remained elusive, a testament to the enduring resilience of the Roman Republic. The tides of war are fickle, and as we'll see in the next scene, even the greatest of generals can face defeat. The Battle of Zama marked a turning point in Hannibal's career, but what happened? It's the year 202 BC. The stage is set in North Africa on the plains of Zama. Hannibal Barca, the brilliant Carthaginian general, faces off against a familiar foe, the Roman general, Scipio Africanus. Two titans of military strategy, their minds as sharp as their swords, locked in a deadly dance of wits and wills. Hannibal, despite his previous victories, finds himself in a precarious position. His army is not as strong as it once was, and he's far from the supportive walls of Carthage. On the other side, Scipio Africanus, having learned from Hannibal's own tactics, stands ready with a well-disciplined and battle-hardened Roman army. The battle commences with a deafening clash. Hannibal's war elephants, the very beasts that had once struck fear into the hearts of the Romans, are skillfully managed by Scipio's troops, a turning point in the battle and a sign of things to come. Scipio's infantry, moving with the precision and discipline of a well-oiled machine, methodically dismantles Hannibal's forces. Despite a valiant effort, the Carthaginian lines buckle under the relentless Roman advance. The genius of Hannibal, the man who had crossed the Alps and won impossible victories, is finally outmaneuvered. The Battle of Zama, a masterclass in military strategy, ends in a decisive Roman victory. The invincible Hannibal has been defeated. The impact of this defeat is monumental. It signals the end of Carthaginian dominance and marks a turning point in the Second Punic War. Hannibal, once the scourge of Rome, is now on the back foot. His dreams of conquering Rome are shattered, and the fate of Carthage hangs in the balance. With this defeat, the tide turned against Hannibal and his city of Carthage. The Battle of Zama, a chapter in history that reminds us that even the greatest can fall. But as the sun sets on this battlefield, the legacy of Hannibal Barca, the cunning Carthaginian general, is far from over. Despite his defeat, Hannibal's legacy has endured. But how did his life end? Following the conclusion of the Second Punic War, Hannibal found himself in a world vastly different from the one he had once dominated. Unable to return to his home city of Carthage, he spent the remainder of his life wandering, living in places as diverse as the Seleucid Empire and Bithynia. He never stopped playing the game of politics and war, even in his exile. But the Romans, his lifelong adversaries, were not far behind. They relentlessly pursued him, their intentions clear. Hannibal, however, had no intention of becoming a Roman captive. In 183 BC, in a final act of defiance against Rome, he took his own life. Yet, death was not the end for Hannibal Barca. His spirit, his tactics, and his strategies lived on, studied and admired by military leaders and scholars alike. His audacious crossing of the Alps, his innovative use of terrain and maneuvering, and his ability to strike fear into the hearts of his enemies all became a part of the military strategy playbook. Even his adversaries couldn't help but admire his genius. The Roman general Scipio Africanus, who ultimately defeated Hannibal, was said to have studied his tactics and used them in his own battles. Hannibal's influence reached far beyond the battlefield. He became an iconic figure in popular culture, immortalized in art, literature, and film. His story has been told and retold, his image recreated in countless forms. He's been hailed as a hero, a villain, a genius, a madman, and everything in between. But one thing is certain: Hannibal Barca was a man who left his mark on history, a man who, despite his eventual defeat, continues to inspire. Through his audacity, his brilliance, and his unyielding spirit, he carved a legacy that has endured for over 2 millennia. And so we remember him today, not just as a Carthaginian general, but as a symbol of defiance, a master of strategy, and a true legend of the ancient world. Hannibal Barca, a brilliant military strategist, left an indelible mark on history, inspiring generations long after his death.